still with Comic Issues here with creative director of the new Transformers Fall of Cybertron, Dave. Transformers, the sequel to the previous War of Cybertron, a incredibly authentic following to the original G1 Transformers. There's been many iterations of the mythology, and you guys seem to really capture the essence of what the original, the first Transformers were kind of all about in their kind of simplicity, but a lot of heartfelt characters. What is it that really, if you could pinpoint it, what was it that you found that gave you the ability to really lock down the characters and their personalities?
Well, for starters, we're High Moon. We're fans of G1 ourselves. You know, we wanted to make a game that we're proud of, and then that we would enjoy playing. And as so much of us grew up on the G1, you know, in the 80s, and we've appreciated every iteration since then. But really, in our hearts, G1 is where we take a lot of the inspiration. So that's where we draw a lot of it from.
Yeah, it's definitely a risk in even attempting to say that you're kind of coming from that angle, because people do hold it so dearly. Was there any kind of apprehension to taking a history that was already established as opposed to just kind of making it up fresh, so you didn't have to hold the old history, you know, as important?
You would think there would be, but as fans ourselves, right? Again, you know, I can't say that we speak for all fans, but we do speak for ourselves, and we work so closely with Hasbro in developing our story, and they approve everything that we do, that we're very careful to make sure that it fits in their mythos, right? So our story on Transformers Fall of Cybertron is approved by Hasbro. It's part of their canon now, officially. Cool. So yeah, and they've been such a great partner to work with that it's made it, in that sense, much easier than what you might imagine.
Now, at the end of War of Cybertron, you know, if you haven't played it, I'm sorry, it's a spoiler. You should have played this game already. It kind of felt like the entire story was told. So how do we start in Fall of Cybertron, continuing the battle between the Autobots and Decepticons, continuing on their home world?
Well, I would argue that the entire story was not told, because you have a big thing at the end of a War for Cybertron. And the great thing is you don't have to play it. You should, but you don't have to play War for Cybertron to appreciate what we're doing in Fall of Cybertron. And War of Cybertron was really towards the tail end. I would almost call it the tail end of the war, the civil war between the Autobots and the Decepticons. And at the end of War for Cybertron, the Autobots lost. Yes. And that's right where our Fall of Cybertron picks up. The Autobots have lost, and Optimus Prime, who's leader of the Autobots, he's had to make one of the toughest calls he's ever had to make, and that's it's time to go. And Megatron isn't about to let that happen. He, of course, blames the Autobots for everything, and that the planet is dying, it's coming apart, and it's time to go. And it's a tough spot to be in when that story starts, and there's a lot of twists and turns. There's a lot of story left to tell.
That's very cool. The story was definitely the prize of the previous game, getting to play both the Decepticon and the Autobot angles of a singular tale. We see the same thing in Fall of Cybertron. Are we to expect the same kind of epic level of destruction and mayhem and surviving what is, you know, the greatest Cybertron war that ever was?
You should expect more, because everything about this story, about this game, about the variety of the game playing is more than War for Cybertron was. And I can't stress that enough. It's one thing to say it, but
yes,
let me tell you, when you get hands on it and you experience that story for yourself and you play through it, you'll get exactly what I'm talking about. The characters are bigger. I mean, Metroplex, right?
It really was amazing. E3, you guys kind of brought out this brand new trailer with Metroplex, and my jaw hit the floor. It is really impressive.
He's the size of a city, and he's at your command. I mean, that's inherently like a Grimlock, right? What's not cool about a fire-breathing space dinosaur, right? And you know, you take a step back from it, you're like, that doesn't make any sense at all, right? There's no dinosaurs in Cybertron. In our story, we explain it all.
Very cool, very cool. Because that is essentially something that you did break canon. You brought in the Dinobots before the G1 history does bring them in.
We rewrote canon, and we did it
with Hasbro's approval. So, you know, no need to get upset about it. Now, personally, I've always been a big fan of Hot Rod. Who is your favorite Transformer?
Oh, golly. You know, in our game, there's so many that you get to play.
Yes.
And each one offers such a distinct experience. And very fun in their own way. But if I had to choose, I am an Optimus Prime guy all the way. And a Metroplex guy, which is really cool because they're in the same level together. You get to control one while you're playing the other.
Very cool. Well, thank you for your time, Dave.
Hey, thank you.
We look forward to the game, bumped up to August 21st, so be sure you're out there and you're getting it.